Episode 2, we are here with my massive blacked out roof lining. So earlier in this video, we've seen that we pull out the roof lining from this Y62 Patrol. This is by far the biggest roof lining I've taken out of any pump. Look at this, it's huge. It's literally one of the biggest roof lining I've ever pulled out. I'm not sure if this is bigger or the G-Wagon, or both are kind of similar size. I think width-wise, they're actually similar. I don't know. Looks massive. I don't know. If it's not bigger than the G-Wagon, it's definitely not smaller. But anyway, I pulled out the roof lining of my car, got it to Carmen's Auto Trimmers. They blacked it out with Alcantara. So the whole roof is now blacked out with Alcantara. Just look at that. That is as smooth as. That's how you like your roof to be. So we've got that done. And now the next step we want to be taking with this roof is we're going to be putting Galaxy star roofs on this one. Now, I was thinking to go roughly somewhere around 2,500 to 3,000 stars because it's a massive roof. I would like to have tons of stars everywhere. We would like to have twinkle stars, and we would also like to have shooting stars on this one. So I've got tons of star roof packages in here. We're going to pull them out, draw them up on this one, and I'm actually going to run you through how we do the Galaxy star roofs on these roofs so you can learn it as well. All right, so for this one, because I want lots of stars in it and the shooting stars, I will need to draw my map here first so I know where I'm going to have all the dots and holes there. For that, we will need to break this down because it wouldn't be just like putting 3,000 stars and just putting 3,000 dots. It doesn't work like that. I'll have to break this down first, and I usually use a tape measure. So we have to now measure this thing, the whole thing, and cut it all into sections. So my roof is roughly 2.5, so that's 255 centimeters length, and we've got roughly about 135 in width. So using the calculator, that's the easiest way. We want to break it down into small square boxes, roughly about 20 centimeters each. So we've got 255 on this side, divided by 20, that gives us 12 cuts. So literally every 20 centimeter, we're going to be putting one mark. Alright, so now we've got all the lines drawn out, and now we're ready to count how many stars we want to have in each one of these squares. We've got 88 boxes here. Normally, in most vehicles, we get about 50 boxes. Having 88 boxes on a roof is actually insane. That just shows you how big the Y62 roof lining really is. As I've experienced, when we do these sort of jobs, we're usually aiming to have 25 to 30 fibers on each squares. That will give you a perfect turnout. So that is what I will be aiming for my car as well. Somewhere between 25 to 30 fibers per each square, and that should give me a good result. 88 times 25, let's see how much that is. All right, so as I said, we've got 88 squares, 88 times 25. That gives us 2,200 fibers. So that means 2,200 fibers are going to go in this roof. Obviously, we can have that little more or little less. Let me check the boxes and see how many fibers I've got in my boxes. So these are the boxes of fibers that I'm going to be using for this job. Now, let me have a look to see how many fibers I've got. I've got... Oh, I thought it's my phone. If it's your phone, that is all good. Perfectly fine. Yeah, I'll just... Let me put it back on charge. All right, as we were saying, we've got these boxes of our fiber Galaxy Star roofs here with us. 1,200 pieces in each box. That gives us a total of 2,400. With our calculation before, we had 2,200. So this is giving us 200 extra lights, which wouldn't hurt. We can still add them on this one. 2,400 divided by 88. That gives us 27 fibers per square. That is really good. That is awesome. So we want to have 27 squares per, not 27 squares, 27 fibers per square. And we do also want to have some shooting stars. I love the shooting stars. We would like to have some shooting stars. I can later decide where I want to have my shooting stars and how I want to have them. Let's first decide with the rest of the stuff, and then we'll get on to our shooting stars. So the way we're doing it right now is we're going to have 27 marks at each square. You may realize some squares, like those ones where the door handle used to be, not door handle, one of these bloody hell.
What is that?
That is not a door handle, that is an air vent. Now with some of our squares, like the ones with the handles or the ones with these air vent locations or the lights, they've got big holes in them. So that is basically giving us some less space in that particular square. But you got to work your way around. You might have less fibers in this one and more in another one which needs it. So that is easy to figure out while you're putting the dots in. So I'm going to do that. Alright, so we're facing an issue. We're trying to put our dots here with our marker that we usually use, but because this roof is kind of black and white already, have a look at what happens when we put our dots in here. They are really hard to see. You hardly can see them. So I've already put in 27 dots on here, and I hardly can notice where I'll put them in. And doing that for 2,400 definitely going to create so much confusion, and it will just mess up the whole thing. So we will need a better solution. I've even tried 2 different markers, none of them working. They're basically exactly the same. I'm thinking probably a red marker would be a good idea. So I'm gonna chase a red marker right now.
A few moments later.
Here I am with 4 highlighters, because that's all we had so far. And I really want to get this done right now. Now let's try this pink one. Oh, that's not bad. That's doable.
Yeah.
I think that is doable. So this thing is now slightly better than the black one. Now at least we can see. So I'm going to go ahead, put in all my 2,400 dots with this pink marker. All right, so basically now we've got all our dots in everybody of all these squares. 88 squares, each one has got approximately 27 dots in them. Some squares may have a bit more. Some squares have got, like this one, just 18. Some have got 25, 27. Some has got 35. Really depends on the sizing of the squares. Obviously, as we get more towards the corner, the squares are a bit smaller, mainly due to having the sections cut out for the air vents, for the handles, the sizing. Some spots have got things like this. We can't put lights in there. So we try to split it out as best as possible, and obviously we do not want them to be exactly accurate. That's one big thing with the Galaxies. We don't want them to be exactly accurate. So yeah, this is how it turns out, and now it's basically ready for us to put in all our fibers through. The way we're going to be doing it is pretty interesting. One important thing, we're going to be considering where we're going to have the power coming into the car and where can we have our engine mounted, the light engine. The light engine is pretty massive. I'm going to show you guys. This is basically what we're trying to hide. It's not a small, it's pretty big. We want it to be somewhere secure, fully mounted, not moving anywhere. This is what I'm going to be using. We have, for this setup, because it's a big, massive roof, as this one is a big, massive roof, we've got two light engines. Each one of these will take 1,200 fibers, and that gives us a total of 2,400 of fibers. 1,200 gives us 600, 600, 600, 600. So we need to mount these somewhere on the roof that they're not moving, not making any noises, and they will actually fit in. Because once this roof lining goes in, we would have pretty much that much space left. So that's the tricky part, finding a spot to mount these in. Then we're going to be running power to these two boxes, and before we start putting our fibers, we need to find out where these are going to go, because that's how we know where the fiber is going to be coming. For example, if we start them back here and then run the fibers, then we cannot simply move this anywhere else because the fibers all lead to here, and it has to be here. So this is a very important part of the Galaxy roof job. We have to find out where we want to mount on this. So let's check out the Y62 now. All right, so here's the tricky part of this part, this job. So we've got these two massive light engines. We're trying to figure out where to have them mounted on our roof, so we can still push the roof lining back in, and also our fibers reach all the way to the other end of our roof lining. So the fibers we've got are 3 meters. So we need this device to be somewhere that allows the 3 meters to reach all the way across the roof lining. So initially I was planning to have my light engines somewhere up here, because I thought then there's a big gap on there between the roof and the roof lining, so I might be able to use this space here. But now we got this sunglass holder and the front lights going in this place here. So I'll take this air freshener off. So they basically lock into place there, and that's in place. So this is the room that we're left with, which is not bad. It's surprisingly better than so many other cars. So I might still be able to use this space. Or another spot that I'm thinking is over here. This would be pretty perfect spot if my roof lining goes like that. That gives me a bit of a gap between the roof lining and the roof to have both these light engines mounted. And having this metal piece here is actually awesome, because then I would be able to simply make a bracket and have my boxes up there. So I reckon that's the way I'm gonna go. If everything goes right, which by the looks of it should be right. We're gonna find out. Or another spot I had in mind was back here. As we've got these AC channels here, there's a big gap around there. Literally, we can have it there. We might even be able to squeeze it somewhere inside this panel, possibly. Like that, maybe. It would be a bit tricky because then the fibers will have to come across there. And these fibers will be like thick looms, whereas our roof lining will be so close here. So this might not be the best option. Up here can be an option. So this is space, because of our AC channel, it gives us pretty massive room here to work around with. So like I can see, if I have my light engine mounted there somewhere, I don't think this is going to create any problems for me, because these are the brackets for my rear handles, and basically I've got a big gap there. I think that is also an option that we can look at. Apart from that, that front one was good, all down here. We might actually need to have one box at the back, one box at the front, mainly due to the length issues of our fibers. As they're only 3 meters, we might need to divide them. So do the top section with the light box, which is the front, and the bottom section with the light box, which is at the back. So I'm gonna measure my fibers and see how this is gonna turn out now. All right, so this thing now is 600 fibers. I've got to bring this closer to the camera so you guys can see. These are our fibers. Every one of these is going to be one star. So 600s in here, 600, 600, 600. So that is giving us a total of 2,400 fibers there. I'm going to measure these in the car to make sure if I end up putting both light engines on the front, these are going to reach all the way to the back. This is very, very important, because if you don't do that, then you might realize that your fibers are not long enough and they do not reach the far end. Or if you mount the fibers on the roof lining, you're trying to put them in, they do not reach your light engine. These are the little things that you will find out throughout working on it. Now, جلو 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 برام بگی. خب اینجا داشتم فکر میکنم اینجا همونجا بگیر. Well, thank God, this is longer than I need, so this is perfect. That means that all corners, all the way from there to here, if I have both my light engine mounted up there, this is enough length, just enough length for me to get my fibers all the way back here. And we can't rely, if this was here, I would not do that, because we couldn't rely on that. We need some bit of length to be hanging down, make sure they are not pressure on the fibers, they are not stretching, they need to be relaxed, and once they're in place, then we can cut it. So this is perfect. I think I'm just gonna go ahead with having both light engines up there. The only thing that is now concerning me is this curve we've got here. So this curve that we've got there is a bit concerning for me. I'm wondering if I place my roof lining in there, this is gonna decrease the gap between the roof and the lining, and the boxes may not fit in. So this is the only thing that I'm worried about now, and I've got to find a way to figure that out without needing to put my roof lining back in the car. Let's see. If not, I'll actually have to put the roof lining back in and pull it all out again to try and find out. All right, so we did not run the risk. I'm gonna test this first. I'll try to put this in first and figure out if there is enough space for both of my light engines. And if there is, then we're gonna go ahead and mount them there. Otherwise, if I mount them there and then I realize that, oh, there was not enough space, it would be a big job to be fixed up. All right, so this is taking place up here, just like that. And now I can have a look. There's a fair bit of gap in there. If I have the light engine going there and push this all the way up, there should still be a big gap for me. Look at that. That is just what we need. See, that is perfect. That just gives me the confidence that there is a big space there, there's enough space there, and that is an amazing spot. It's right in the center, gives me enough length to go all the way at the back. There is a place for it to mount the bracket, have both light engines set in there, and it's actually easy to run the wire from there to power it up. Perfect spot. This is where we're gonna put it at. That is just giving me the confidence that this is the perfect spot to have our light engine set in, and it actually gonna go really well. So I love that. Now we're adding our fibers to our light engines. This gives me the accuracy. So I'm gonna have this mounted there, have the light box sitting up there, so I can know exactly what length I've got when it comes to pulling my fibers. Just there was perfect, and I'm gonna tie these to that small wire there just for now, because a lot of times as we're pulling the fibers we might move this thing around, and then we don't want that. We want them to be in the exact spot as we planning to mount it. I feel like this is now going to be good enough for now just to hold our boxes in place. So while we're doing the installation of all these fibers, we're not going to be pulling the boxes around. It makes the job a lot easier because now you know exactly how much length you've got, and I can now test and make sure that they do reach all the corners. So this corner and that corner are the farthest spots from my light engines, and my fibers are long enough to reach there easily. So I can route them just like that, no issues at all. I've got 4 big looms of fiber. Each one of these looms have got 600 fibers in them. Total of 2,400 of fibers are going to be taking place in this roof now. And now, that's where the real work starts. Putting each one of these fibers into the roof one by one. Once we're all done, glue them all one by one. Since these are already in 4 pieces, I'm going to break them like into different sections. So probably this one we'll be looking at using it for this area. The next one is going to be used for this area, and these two would be the similar there and roughly there. That looks good. Wow! All right, so now we divided all these fibers into 4 different sections. So one loom is going to take cover of this quarter here, and as you can see, that's going to take cover of that, there. Firstly, I would like to start around my light engine. So it's going to be a bit tricky to get these few dots that are under this light box, but I reckon I should do them first maybe, or possibly doing the last. I'll worry about them later. I'll do them last. So now I'm going to pop this in, and now that is ready for my fiber to go in. So I'll peel this off. This is where everything can get messy. I'll just put a zip tie around this somewhere at the end to hold them all together. Otherwise, the mess that this thing is going to create will confuse you. And that's the last thing you want when you're doing this job. Imagine there's like 2,400s of lights, 2,400s of fibers. Yeah, you don't want to confuse yourself. So just pull them out one by one. You pop the hole in, and now we've got to be carefully pulling this all the way through. Well, the early ones are annoying because then you've got a lot of fibers to be pulling. As you get towards the end, there's less fiber to pull. The fibers will be shorter, so easier to pull them. So now this is literally what we're going to be doing for a while until we finish off this whole roof. And reason that I pop in my hole first and then do that fiber and then go on to the next one is it is so easy to miss some holes if you pop all the holes in and then do the fibers all together. It will be very easy for you to miss some.